and a lot of people don't realize this. Let's say you're looking for a star topaz, quantity 1. Um, this item is going to cost you 584,000. The reality is a lot of these gems you're going to find, I'm not going to do the math right now because I don't think this is truly relevant. I just wanted to make this as a side point, is a lot of the gems on the auction house are going to cost either severely more than it would cost to make them yourselves or severely less. And if you happen to luck out and find someone who's just frustrated with their star topaz, and they're like, I put 750,000 into this, I'm never going to use it, and it's not selling for 750,000, maybe I'll put it up for 500,000. That's always a good time to snag items. Gems are the most frustrating things for people, and there's no market for them currently. Okay, this cool strap, I'll check that out after this. Thank you for the link. But yeah, so that's that. One thing I want to cover here as well, and this actually wasn't on my docket, but I'm going to cover it because I just recalled it. The way bids work in this game are kind of a dick. When you bid on an item, like let's say you find an item for cheap, I'll do Screaming Chain because it's a good example, because I just did this last night. I managed to snag a ring, one of these rings here. You're going to say, even as we go down the page, it's still worth a good 4 million. I managed to snag one of these rings for about 1.8 million because I did the bidding correctly. And this is what I'm going to show you guys. Right now, this ring here in particular, this one I've got moused over, the low bid for this is 367,000. I don't know if it's any good, by the way. Let's even see. Yeah, it's pretty good if you like a Demon Hunter or something, I guess. But if you put a bid on this right now with 1 day and 9 hours to go, chances are between now and then someone else will bid you back. And anytime you bid on something, you lose a bid, you get a notification from the auction house saying you've been outbid on X item. If you rebid right away, that other person is going to know that they're going to have to fight you for this item. But if you wait 1 day and 8 hours before you come back and start bidding again, you not only will have a good chance of catching them off guard, they might be in a game, and if you're in a game, you don't get notifications about bids on the auction house. But you really want to wait to that last moment, because if you two were to bid fight back and forth, say even 5 times right now for this item, while it's still got a day to go, the minimum bid's going to go up from 367,000 to a million easily, just because of the increments that it costs to go up in bids. So if you're planning to bid for an item and you see an item for cheap that you like, it's totally in your price range and it's a huge upgrade for you, wait to bid on it. I know it's difficult to be patient and you would love to just hit that buy out button right now, but if you're trying to be cost effective, or maybe you don't have that much gold in the first place, be patient. It's your greatest strength when using the auction house. This goes the same for selling items as well. If an item comes off the auction house and you know for a fact it's worth at least say a million gold, doesn't mean get impatient and put it back up for 500k just because you want a quick sale. It means be patient. Put it up 3 or 4 times. Chances are it's not going to be on the first page for the first 3 or 4 days that you put it up there, because there's hundreds of items on the auction house and there's 47 pages of just crap in front of yours. So patience is your greatest strength when both buying and selling on the auction house. But just as an example for this ring, let's say it gets down to the point where the time left is no longer 1 day and 9 hours. It is less than 10 minutes to go. The longer you can wait to rebid, the better chances are someone's not going to be able to bid you back. Of course, once it gets to that minus 1 minute, less than 1 minute to go time, that's when you can kind of go crazy and start bidding your ass off. But I would really recommend against that prior to the 1 minute mark even. It's the best way to snag items for cheap. Like, I will show you guys here on my neck real quick. This is a neck piece, the Star of Azkarath. I managed to get that for like less than 300,000, and I'm pretty sure the item goes for a good couple million now. And this isn't because like I'm some super auction house nerd that sat here for 5 days waiting, which is sometimes what you will have to do, by the way, for items. That's camping the auction house, and I'm actually going to cover that next. But it means I was patient enough to wait for that last minute, and I got it for cheap because no one else had bid me up at that point. Like this one here, for example. If I'm not interested in flipping this right now, but if you're someone who has, say, 150,000 to 200,000 gold to spare, you could bid on this in the last couple of minutes, pick this item up for, say, 200,000 gold, and then undercut everyone else here severely, put it up for 500,000 gold. You'll have doubled your money off of doing nothing just because you're able to flip the item. Because, the appeal of there's 3 pages here of everything's up for 1 million. The second someone sees something up for like 500,000, they're gonna jump at it because they think, well, shoot, this item's great for me and it's way, way cheaper than everything else. They might think like, haha, the sucker selling this sure lost out. But then on your end, you're like, I just doubled my money for free and I did nothing to do it. So it's kind of the auction house can be a bit of a risk too, because there's that chance that the item never sells and you wasted 200,000 gold. But without risk, there's no reward, right? Sorry, got a bit of something in my throat. One thing I want to cover now is camping the auction house. I can't really show you this example in great detail because I don't know of any hot ticket items currently that would go for this. But let's say you're looking for a Blackthorn's neck. Is it the metal? I think it's the metal, right? Yep. This is a popular item that a friend of mine spent 3 days camping for before he finally got his. The problem with this item is all the really good stats are super expensive. Like you can see here clearly 80 million, sorry, 60 million, etc. Um, but when you find one that's affordable, that has decent stats attached to it, it's going to go quick. Because it's the same logic I just tried to explain to you guys with undercutting your competition. Um, Someone's just trying to sell their item. They don't care how much they get for it. Put it for 5 million. And let's pretend this had amazing stats. It does not have amazing stats. Let's pretend it did. Chances are, within posting, there's going to be 3 other people looking for this item for cheap, like you are, and it's going to go immediately. My friend lost items in the time it took him to see the item load up on the page and hit the buyout button. It goes that quickly. Camping the auction house can be very effective for you because if you pick an item like this one up for say 5 million and this had excellent stats like the other ones did, you could reflip this for say 10 million, double your profits or more, or you could just wear it and it's a huge upgrade and you've got a great deal for it. But unfortunately, sometimes you'll lose it and by the time, you go page 8 and then come back and then this will say sold and you're like, well, shoot, I just lost out on a big deal. So if you ever hear your friends talk about camping the auction house or someone tells you to camp the auction house for a specific item, this is what they're talking about. Constantly refreshing, researching, and trying to find items of the perfect stats because they're going to go quickly. What you guys should also learn to do, by the way, if anyone here, this is buying advice now, this is not selling advice. If anyone here is looking to buy an item, but they don't really care whether it's the perfect item, what you should know is, as an example, an all resist, actually I'll try and search this to give you guys an example. Let's say you're looking for boots, and one of the key stats you're looking for is all resist. Now you can see, by the way, all resist boots are very expensive because they're very good. These boots, I can tell you right here, just looking at them, were not crafted because I know that the cap for crafting is 70 all resist, and the cap, not the crap, the cap for finding a pair of boots in the wild is 20 or 80 all resist. So you could see these boots here and go, it's 5 off of perfect, or sorry, 6 off of perfect, but it's still really damn high. Maybe it's a big upgrade for me. I can settle with paying 4.5 million if I know that the better version is going to cost you an extra 2 million. Those aren't a better version. I just kind of looked at the price. But it's if you're trying to buy something on the auction house, you don't have to get the best. The best, and I'm saying this with air quotes, you cannot see me. I could probably turn my webcam on, but I won't. The best, in huge air quotes, is pretty much a big illusion because you don't need 80 resist all to beat Act 2. You just need 70 or more type thing. These aren't accurate numbers. I'm just giving examples, of course, but if you're buying stuff, don't be afraid to go for a little less than what you're looking for. I have a wand here. I bought this wand and it cost me 700,000 cheaper than the equivalent wand that had both intellect and 4% against the elites instead of 3%. I sat there and I said, well, I could dish out an extra like 500,000 golds for pretty much the same item, or I could just take this one. This one does exactly everything I needed to. I can clear Whimsyshire, I can do Act 3 solo, and it saved me enough money that with the 600,000 I saved, I could craft like 10 belts, I could craft a bunch of boots, I could reinvest that into trying to buy something off the auction house and flip it. I mean, it's all about how you want to kind of prioritize your money, I guess. The biggest thing though, I have a kind of big money base here, but I'll tell you, I've actually got my book here. Let me flip back to page of day 1. I logged in one day and I had, I believe it was 23,000, let me check. Yep, I had 23,000 gold. I lucked out that day, and on that day I had 22,000 gold. I found an item and I sold it for 200,000. From that 200,000, I bought 118 essences, 23 tiers, and I kept repeating this over and over. And I kept track of exactly how much I was losing went through buying items and how much I was making through crafting. So the first belt I made out of those items sold for 255,000 gold. Um, Kind of a big reinvestment. I used that money to then again use all 255,000 gold to buy more tiers and essences and tomes. And I crafted and made more and made more, and I kept that process up to a point where at the end of the day I had spent 3,274,350 gold, but I had made back 5,171,000 gold at the end of the day. Um, Reinvesting your money is very, very profitable. It doesn't have to just be through crafting. I'm using that as the example for how I make a lot of my money. I don't spend all day on the auction house. If I did, I would probably be one of those guys who have tycoons amounts of money. Instead, I'm pretty happy sitting around 10 to 14 as my usual amount of millions. After that, you can go play a demon hunter, make an alt, whatever. Just have fun with the game as it's intended to be, or sell it on the forums if you want. That's a whole nother can of worms. But if you reinvest your money in either buying items for cheap on the auction house and flipping them because you know it's a popular item, or crafting items that have popular stats, like I said earlier, like armor, sockets, all resist, you're going to want to not take the money you're making profit, but reinvest it again and again and again. And then once you have like 4 million sitting around that I don't even truly need upgrades at this point. There's definitely things that are better for me, but they're all so minimal that I don't have to spend my money anymore. A lot of the gear I have is very nice. It's very good. I love my helmet. I'm probably never going to upgrade out of it unless I found something with the same stats, just bigger. So the best thing you can do with the auction house is flip items, which I did a lot of for a while, or craft items and use that money essentially to flip more crafting. Either way, the more you put into the auction house, the more you'll get back out of it. But the problem is, as I said, a lot of the time stuff you make will not sell. And you've really got to just wrap your head around the fact that some of the stuff you made might look really good, but it's just crap. Go sell it off for 10,000 gold. Use that 10,000 gold to go buy some stuff or flip a cheaper item. I don't care what you do with it, but you've got to know to cut your losses because that will save you so much on the auction house. Because the worst thing is to have 10 out of 10 auctions like I currently do that are not selling. Because I've got a stash and a half full of items. Look at all these chest pieces I made the other day. I've got all these other weapons, but I can't sell it because currently I'm cock blocked through the auction house. I didn't do this intentionally, it just works out for the video, by the way, where I overprice pretty much everything I have. But now here's the ups and the downs of overpricing. I have this belt here. It is no way worth 10 million gold, by the way. I know this for a fact. You go look up Angel Hair brand. In fact, we'll do that together. Sorry, Angel Hair braid. You're going to see a lot on the front page for absurd amounts. Ignore those. Those are fucking whatever reason. They're so expensive, no one's going to buy them. You come back down to page 7 or 8. This is where it gets more relative. You can see the stats here. 103 int, 3% life resist all. That's about the same that mine has. I'm just choosing to gamble this one and hope that someone will pick it up for 10 million. Realistically, if I really wanted to move this legendary quickly and I wanted to sell it, I would sell it for 4.5 or even less because I found this item. And you got to keep in mind that if you found something, 1 gold is profit, 10 gold is profit, 100,000 gold is profit. Whatever you make off of it is going to put you in the green. I just chose to be greedy with this one and gamble and see if there's anyone willing to take this, but realistically, you're going to want to down price your items. Now, I'll show you an example here of the chess piece because I remember the stats on it exactly. I sold this earlier today. It was a chess piece that sold for a little over 1 million gold. Now, the reason I was able to price this is because yesterday, or sorry, not yesterday, 2 days ago, I placed the same chess piece on the auction house for 2 million, and it didn't sell. And rather than super undercut myself, or sorry, super cock block myself by putting it back up for the same price again, I chose to severely undercut myself because I not only have items I need to move, like as you saw just a moment ago, I've got full stash, full mules, um, but I put, I believe it was 91,500 gold into it plus materials. To get 1 million back from it is huge. It doesn't matter that I didn't get 2 million. That's just greedy. Who cares about greed if you still made 1 million gold out of it? But it had all resist, sockets, and vitality. And you're going to see that these chests are very expensive, by the way. 5 million, 7 million, 10 million. And these all have very relatively, I believe my chest had actually pretty similar stats to this. And these ones that are for 10 million, of course, are, if they do sell, it won't be right away and it won't be anytime nearby because you see right underneath we got a guy with Vitality, sockets, whatever, selling for that much more. Um, it's you got to know that like a lot of people, the illusion of the